Excited about the Rude King Chick Days.
Well, don't forget the chicken paid.
Thank you for riding with the Watchdog. Live
just the way you like it.
Calls and conversations continue in less than 3 minutes as the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues after this.
Washington County's largest gun show is back on Saturday and Sunday, April 10th and 11th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Washington County Fairgrounds. Admission is just $7, and kids under 12 get in free with an adult. Everyone is welcome. They offer free appraisals and have great prices on all types of firearms, modern, military, and antique. They have over 450 tables with cash buyers on site for your used guns. Visit arhsportshop.com or call 724-948-3571 for more information. That's 724-948-3571 for more information. That's Washington County Gun Show, presented by ARH Sports Shop, April 10th and 11th.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
Hello everyone, from the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday, look for partly sunny skies, daytime high near 40 degrees, clear, cool overnight, temperatures down to about 20 degrees for the low. You'll see plenty of sunshine around for your Friday, with highs in the lower 40s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Launch Control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
Really?
Roger that.
It's Thursday.
Why even call it Thursday? Problem? We have pizza on Thursday. Places, please! Quiet down!
Here's a complete disc jockey show with all the modern pace of today's exciting radio.
Good morning. Let's get started.
Seriously, let's go.
A fresh take on local, regional, and national news. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
33 degrees and hazy at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. A real light wind blowing around drops that 33 to a 29. Feels like not a big difference there. 33 at the airport, 33 here at my home studios in Elm Grove, 33 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Brother Biff, did you do anything special last night for the last night of the Biden presidency?
No.
I debated whether to treat this as a serious subject or a silly subject. I had actually been looking for some comedy bits or some silly songs to start the show off with, because today is the day that QAnon followers believe that Donald Trump will rise again. He will ascend to the presidency today and will become the 19th president of the United States, because we stopped officially being a country back when USS Grant was our president. He was the last real president we had. Everybody else since Grant has not been the president of the United States, but the president of a corporation called America. And I think that's so silly and so ridiculous and so funny. I was going to start the day off with, asking people how did you spend the last night of the Biden presidency and maybe finding some silly songs and stuff. Then I saw some reports from ABC and CNN and other places that the Capitol Police are saying there could be another insurrection today. That they have obtained intelligence that shows a possible plot to breach the U.S. Capitol today by an identified militia group. The statement from the Capitol Police says, our department is working with local, state, and federal partners to stop any threats to the Capitol. We are taking the intelligence seriously. Due to the sensitive nature of the information, we will not provide additional details at this time. News media has dug up a little bit more details, but not a whole lot. An internal Capitol Police bulletin says this could be part of a group called the 3%ers, who supposedly are having tens of thousands of their followers come into the Capitol today, armed and prepared to take over the Capitol. Now, I'm not buying into that necessarily. 50,000 people coming across the country going to try and storm the Capitol. But I guess we have to take it seriously. The House was scheduled to do some voting today, and they canceled their meetings. They said, you know what, maybe we'll just stay home. The House is not in session. Capitol Police have asked Capitol Hill staffers to maybe work from home today if you can. So they're treated, pardon me, they being the Capitol Hill Police are treating this very seriously. The information in this bulletin that has been sent out by the Capitol Police around to other law enforcement is based on sources from FBI intelligence that the 3%ers militia group plans to maybe use some kind of diversionary tactic today, like blowing up a bomb somewhere in the nation's capital, which would then get law enforcement to go over to deal with that problem. And when they did that, the group would then try and take over the Capitol. I don't know if I really believe this or not. But I think, Biffy, I think probably I'm wiser to treat this like a serious story than a silly one. I mean, the whole idea that Trump is going to rise again today is, to me, ludicrous. And he ain't going to rise again today, and that's not going to happen.
Well, I think now, I mean, you have to take any threat seriously. I mean, there shouldn't even be a question. I mean, if somebody says, or a group or whatever says they're threatening anything to do with D.C., the Capitol, the monuments, or whatever, I don't care what group it's coming from. The way things are now, you have to treat it seriously. No second guessing, nothing. You treat it seriously.
In the wake of January 6th, I think that you're right. We saw on January 6th, and we're still learning with hearings that have been held even this week, that there have been warnings on January 6th of an insurrection of some kind, and it wasn't taken seriously enough. I think it was taken seriously, but not seriously enough. And we saw what happened. Capitol was overrun. Windows were broken. Senators and congressmen had to run and hide. They were saying, hang Mike Pence. What, 5 people have been killed? I think 5 people dead. Is it 5, I think? From the Capitol insurrection. So I think you're right, Biffy. In the wake of that, and quite frankly, in the wake of the criticism that Capitol Police, National Guard, and others have taken since then, you got to take this seriously. And you got to be really well prepared. And the big issue that we've been hearing, again, we even heard this week in some testimony on Capitol Hill, is that, as we heard, by the way, after 9/11, why is it after every horrific event, we discover we don't have good communication between the entities involved? And that's what we're hearing was part of what was wrong on January 6th. The people who needed to be prepared weren't prepared, and the people who needed to learn to respond quickly, since they weren't prepared, didn't communicate together well. Well, hopefully they've learned from that.
Well, I mean, that's, first of all, that's unacceptable. The fact
Yes.
that the people that really needed to know that they didn't get word. And second, you don't want it happening again. So, that's why I think you take this seriously and you make sure all communications and whoever needs to know what's going on got that information and wait and see what happens today.
And hopefully the answer is nothing. Hopefully the answer is maybe a handful of Yabalonis will show up on the Capitol steps and shout slogans and wave signs or something. I don't know. And hopefully that's all that we have to deal with. But I'm with you, Bippy. Certainly after January 6th, there is no way you cannot take this seriously. So, again, I had originally thought about some silly songs. I was really searching the internet trying to find some silly songs. I was looking for a way to treat this as a very funny thing. And I was going to start maybe with the King Tut song or something and say, "Here comes Trump." And then the more I thought about it, this ain't funny. This ain't funny. It's, that's part of the problem, I think, quite frankly, that we had on January 6th and we've had in general, is that we still sometimes think in, how do I phrase this, pre-Trump terms. And I'm not trying to pick on Trump. I'm just using that as a timeline where things were more normal, where you didn't have nut groups actively acting out their nutness in public like they did on January 6th. I keep thinking, oh, no, nothing's going to happen. Donald Trump ascending to the presidency and becoming the 19th president because we used to be a corporation. That's my tendency. Then I stop and think about the things that have happened leading up to and including January 6th, and I go, nah, it ain't funny. ABC will keep a close eye on this, and I hope we won't have any special reports this morning, and I hope we won't have any need for live coverage, and I hope we won't have anything other than an opportunity to talk about how do we continue to keep the Capitol safe. I hope all of those things. I suspect those are going to be true, but I don't know. We shall wait and see. We shall wait and see. 7:20 in the morning here on the Watchdog Morning Show. The Capitol Police story, the Capitol potential insurrection, is just one of the topics we'll tackle coming up over the course of the morning this morning. Also, Governor Justice lowered the age for vaccination to 50 yesterday, as more vaccines do become available in both the local area and across the state. Although I'm not sure that lowering the number means anything, and I'll talk about that coming up in a bit. And the question that a lot of folks have been asking, and a lot of folks I think are misconstruing, once you are vaccinated, once you have your vaccine, is it a get out of jail free card? Does it mean we got to rip off the mask and run out into the world and go back and do what I did before? Life is good, I'm normal again. A lot of people think that the vaccine is, that's it, I got the vaccine, it's over, it's done with. I don't think that's the case. Dr. Clark Milton from Wheeling Hospital coming in today to talk to us about what does this vaccine actually mean? What does it actually do? Because I think some folks misconstrue what it does too. It does keep you from getting COVID. But more importantly, if you were to get COVID, it keeps you from getting serious symptoms, I think. So we'll talk to Dr. Milton about that coming up a little bit later on this morning. Mountain East Conference Tournament in Wheeling starting today. We'll preview that. West Liberty University has several virtual events for potential new students coming up. We'll talk to one of their admissions counselors about that. We'll register a couple more of you for our Watchdog Madness giveaway. Stay on top of the West Virginia legislature, including churches can now be corporations. Churches are corporations, my friend. We'll talk about that. And there's a new bill just introduced yesterday in the legislature, and sure, why not, making it illegal for any state or any county, municipality, or any subdivision of the state to order a mask mandate. So the state has decided, even though the governor is doing this and has done this, the legislature is deciding that mask mandates will be illegal anywhere. No state, no city can do it. We'll talk about that. And finally, what is life like on Mars? A WVU professor is working with the Mars Perseverance team. Kathy Benison coming in to chat with us about Mars, the planet. What is it like? What's the atmosphere like? What's the surface of Mars like? She's done a lot of research on this. She's also helping the team decide what things on Mars, rocks and dirt and debris and so on, should the Perseverance pack up and send back to Earth for further study. We'll talk about that. What do we hope to learn? And of course, I have to ask her, are there little green men up there? So we'll talk about Mars coming up a little bit later on this morning as well. Now, something on your mind, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Happy to have you on the text line, the CityNet hotline, 304-232-8255. We'll talk about the Mountain East Conference. We'll also talk about Potato Head and how some people are reacting to some of the changes with Potato Head that we talked about. I've got all of that coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It is 7:23 and 33 degrees.
Listen to the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard.
Many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
There are times when you shouldn't ignore what your body is telling you, and you need to seek medical care. At Wheeling Hospital, we want you to know that we are taking every precaution to make your visit as safe as possible. We're screening visitors, using the latest infection control technologies, offering telehealth for physician visits, and more. This is true throughout our campus, in our ER Trauma Center, our physician offices, surgical center, and on our patient floors. The pandemic isn't over, but be assured that at Wheeling Hospital, we are here when you need us.
From the Watchdog Network, right now, traffic. Here's the latest from the Robinson Auto Group Traffic Center.
Traffic near the Highlands, on Washington Avenue, and on the Fort Henry Bridge is flowing. Traffic near the Ohio Valley Mall, on 70 and 470, and on State Route 7 is on its normal pattern. The lane width reductions on the eastbound entrance ramp and westbound exit ramp to Wheeling Island will continue. The closure of I-70 from US 250 and West Virginia 2 south, the 16th Street exit to the Ogilvy Park exit for Phase 2 of the Fulton Bridge replacement project will continue. The closure of the US 250 North on-ramp to I-70 East as part of Phase 2 will continue. The intermittent McCulloch Street daytime closures will continue. The left lane closure on I-70 westbound from approximately the Route 40 on-ramp to just past the US 250 southbound off-ramp will continue. The Market Street overpass width reduction will continue. I-70 construction will continue westbound where crossovers are in effect. And all existing detours and closures will continue for the I-70 Bridges project. Follow Ohio Valley Traffic Report on Facebook, WTRF 7 News, and the Watchdog for updates.
Neffs. The Watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Neffs trusts the Watchdog.
Miss a part of the show? Want to hear a segment again? Check out our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
More clouds than sun during the day today. A little cooler than it was yesterday. Best we'll do is around 40 today. Currently 33 at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport here at my home studios in Elm Grove and at the Robinson Autodome Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Biffy, it's basketball day today here on the Watchdog and in downtown Wheeling.
Yeah, the Mountain East Conference Tournament makes its way to West Banco Arena actually this morning. The first game, the women's games that start will be at 11 o'clock this morning.
West Liberty takes on Glenville State. We'll have the game for you here on the Watchdog, as well as a variety of MEC games throughout the weekend, throughout this week and into the weekend. But we'll start this morning at 11 o'clock, so stick around and be sure you're listening to that today. This will be the first time the MEC has had an event with live spectators since this tournament last year, Biff.
Yeah, because they during the regular season, they said go ahead and play, but they didn't allow fans in the stands. So yeah, this will actually be the first event that since last year that the MEC will have spectators. And one other note, the West Banco Arena and the MEC have decided that they are going to give another year for the tournament in Wheeling because of the with everything that's gone on. So Wheeling will get another year to host the MEC tournament, which I think will run now through, I want to say 2022 maybe. So they'll get another year for that, which is good for the city of Wheeling.
The commish, Reed Amos, has certainly been very complimentary of the city and the arena and Denny and all the folks there in terms of how they have cooperated with the MEC in the past and certainly getting things ready for this year as well. They've had high compliments for how things have worked. But Biffy, we find that all the time when we have a big event here. I don't know whether people are surprised or what. I mean, going back to the big days of the Super Six when they first got started, people, I don't know, I'm not sure. So the MEC is just part of that now too. Once we start doing things here, people go, hey, this is a good place to do things.
Well, and again, it goes the credit of Denny and Sonia down at West Banco Arena and everyone else and the crew that they have. You know, I mean, they have years of experience of, you know, putting plywood over the ice or doing whatever to get everything ready. But what's unique about this year is the arena, most of it is already there because, again, you look at the Nailers who, by the way, laid an egg again last night in Indy, but that's a whole other story. But for the home games this year, you know, they've already put in the proper precautions and everything. I mean, you walk around, there's the little hand sanitizer stations. They've got the glass up at the concession stands. The restrooms, they're kind of like if you go to Charleston, how they have just the walkways that are there so you don't have to touch the doors and everything. The seats are already covered, so you know which seats you are season ticket holders and whatnot. So some of that has already been done. So other than just covering up the ice and converting it into a basketball court, I'm not sure that there was too much more that they needed to do to get the arena ready because most of it's already been done.
Yeah, and again, Denny and the gang, you have to apologize. Here I go again this morning, folks. I'm sorry. Denny and the gang have really done a good job of keeping things, even during the time the arena was essentially closed. They kept things under control and, kept things up to speed and so on. There will be some restrictions to the MEC. Spectators limited to 750. That's the total number that will be allowed to come in and watch. You will have to wear a mask. The only people without masks will be, the players on the floor. And I don't know if they have to wear a mask when they're not actively playing or not. I'm not sure about that. But while they're playing the game, they don't have to wear a mask, obviously. But everyone else has to wear a mask. As you pointed out, Bippy, they have the hockey glass staying up to help prevent the spread of, COVID or anything else.
And if they do like they do for the Nailers games, they will make announcements throughout the game, about keeping your mask on when you eat, take it down. When you go to take a drink, take it down, put it back up, and there will be ushers that are around, and trust me, I've seen it at hockey games. If they catch you, they'll tell you, put the mask up, because and that's I think that's part of the arena and the way that the ECHL does it for the Nailers. So I'm not sure if the MEC is going to follow exactly to that, but I would expect something similar than what you see at Nailers games.
Yeah, I would think so, because actually I think that's an arena policy, not an MEC policy. So that, yikes. So they'll be following that. Turn the mic off for a second, Biffy. Happens to me every morning, doesn't it?
It seems like it, but I think
every morning, jeez.
Yeah, like you said, I think that's part of the rules that the arena has set, as well as the rules that the ECHL has set. So
right.
I would imagine the MEC would probably have their own set of rules, as well as the ones that are already in place that the arena has.
The commissioner, Reed Amos, says they've hit some sponsorship records too. He's excited. I mean, and Reed doesn't really get excited. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Reed's kind of
he's kind of mellow.
He keeps himself under control, but Reed's excited. I think this is the first live event with real people in the stands, and again, they've got some significant sponsorships, and this is going to be a real. I've seen the phrase in some of the media, return to normal. This is not quite normal yet, but we're getting closer and closer. This may be the closest to a normal event we've seen, maybe excluding the Nailers games, in quite some time.
I think we can say this. This is a part of the path to normalcy. I'll go with that.
Absolutely right. So we welcome the MEC in, and our first game coverage this morning at 11 o'clock. We will have multiple games all throughout the weekend here on the Watchdog, so be listening. We'll let you know what we've got coming up. I think that's our only game today. We got 2 games tomorrow. I think a couple of games on Saturday, and of course the conclusion of the tournament on Sunday. So we'll have it all for you here on the Watchdog. Be listening to AM 1600, AM 1370, or FM 97.7, and we've got MEC tournament basketball action for you. And then, Biffy, we're just a week away from high school basketball action here too, which is good news.
Yeah, we're 5 days away from our first. Actually, we have 2 games on Tuesday night. So yeah, we're 5 days away from the joyful return of high school basketball here to the Ohio Valley, Weirton and Wheeling Central, and John Marshall and Wheeling Park on Tuesday, March 9th will start the basketball season. And, of course, the schedule shortened this year to 16 games, which is probably, if I had to guess, I'd say about maybe about a 6 or 7 games short of what a normal regular season would be. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to cut off a couple games, but hey, I think if you ask the coaches and the players, they don't mind as long as they can get back out on the court and do what they love to do.
So that's all coming up here as well. And like you said, Vivi, to say we're back to normal is completely wrong. But to say we're on a real path to normalcy again, I think that's a fair thing to say. The MEC tournament being played, you got the we've got high school basketball coming up again.
At college, we're almost into the conference tournaments and the March Madness tournament here.
March Madness is coming up. Watchdog Madness is going to be here. We'll give you a chance to get registered for that coming up a little bit later on this morning here on the show. So we are not back to normal. And of course, I've often said, I don't know that we'll ever be back to normal again. But we're getting closer and closer. Now, again, next hour, the one thing I'm going to talk about, vaccine. What can you do? I see people who get the vaccine and they think immediately, I can go and be my normal self. I saw a woman on Facebook saying, I got my vaccine. I'm going to the track and play in the machines again. It's like, oh, come on, lady. It's not magic. But what can we do? What can't we do? How careful do you need to be even after the vaccine, and for how long? We'll talk to Dr. Clark Milton about that from Wheeling Hospital coming up in the next hour of the show, so stick around for that. And I still want to talk about Mr. Potato. I'm sorry, not Mr. We don't call him Mr. or Mrs. anymore. It's just Potato Head. We'll talk about Potato Head and some reaction to Hasbro's decision to rebrand Potato Head coming up in a bit, too. But we'll get the weather forecast in depth and in detail from Zach Petty straight ahead after we check some headlines from the Big Seven and, of course, Billy D in Morning Sports.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Now it's time for your local news headlines from 7 News at WTRF, My Ohio Valley, and ABC Ohio Valley. Only on AM 1600 WKKX. The Watchdog.
Good Thursday morning, Ohio Valley. I'm Stephen Ruffing with your 7 News headlines. Eligibility for the coronavirus vaccine is expanding across the Mountain State. It is now available to West Virginians 50 and older. However, Governor Justice says those 65 and older will still have priority. School educators and service personnel ages 40 and up can also get in line for the vaccine, as well as our high-risk population. And as of this morning, nearly 200,000 West Virginians have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And with Texas and Mississippi lifting their mask mandates later this month, some lawmakers are calling on Ohio Governor to do the same. Republican Josh Mandel is asking DeWine to remove the statewide mask mandate, as well as all restrictions on businesses immediately. State health leaders are hopeful once between 50 to 70% of people are vaccinated, mask mandates might relax. And today is Sexual Violence Awareness Day at the West Virginia Legislature. Advocates will meet with lawmakers to bring attention to the issues of sexual violence and the need for services to serve those who are victims. Statistics show that 1 in 6 women in West Virginia will experience an attempted or completed sexual assault in their lifetimes, and more inmates are behind bars in our state prisons for forcible rape than any other crime. Several bills have been introduced this legislative session to address this public health issue. And that was a look at your headlines. Have a great Thursday, everyone.
The Penguins are back in action tonight when they host the Philadelphia Flyers. No Sid Crosby Wednesday at the team's practice. Sid is still on the National Hockey League's COVID-19 list. Also on that list is Pittsburgh Penguin assistant coach Todd Reardon. 2,800 fans will be in attendance tonight as the Flyers visit the Penguins. Exhibition baseball, Tampa over the Pittsburgh Pirates by the score of 3-1. The Pirates will host Atlanta in sunny Bradenton, Florida this afternoon. A note involving New York Yankees manager Aaron Boone. He has left the team to get a pacemaker. Surgery took place on Wednesday. We have women's basketball this morning on AM 1600. It's round one of the Mountain East Conference, and it's Wheeling University facing Glenville State. You can hear that game on AM 1600. Hey, be safe out there. Be considerate of others. Please check on the elderly. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
Hey, sports fan. Are you ready for the madness that is March? Watchdog style. Tune in every day for your chance to win a spot on our Watchdog bracket. 64 listeners will be given a team to cheer on through the big tournament coming up. And if your team wins the whole thing, you win a huge brand new 4K smart TV. For more information on this contest and much more, check out our Facebook page or our website at thewatchdognetwork.com. Follow us on Facebook for the latest news, show updates, podcasts, alerts, and live video streams from the Valley's only network dedicated to local, community-driven talk radio, The Watchdog.
From the West Virginia Broadcasting Hall of Fame, directly to you. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
7:42, 18 to the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to go to Mars. We're heading to Mars. Yeah, we're going to the red planet. We're going to find out if there are any little green men living up there. We're also going to seriously find out what life is like on Mars, or is there life on Mars, and what's the atmosphere like, and what's it like there on the ground, and what is the Mars Perseverance trying to do? Why do we go there? What are we studying? WVU Professor Kathy Benison is working with the Mars Perseverance team, and she's going to join us to talk about that coming up later on this morning. Right now, let's see what the weather is like, well, not on Mars, but in Wheeling. And I'll do that. Zach Petty is here from the Big 7. Good morning, Zach.
Well, good morning, Howard. How are you, sir?
Great day yesterday, not quite so good today, right?
No, yeah, real big flip of the script. So kind of taking a page into Old Man Winter's book, because gray and overcast for a good portion of the day. Not too much sun and colder air in place. So kind of feels like Old Man Winter's still kicking and wanting to have his presence felt and heard.
We might push up near 40, at least getting close to that. Is that right for the day?
Yeah, it looks like we could stick with 30s, if not get real close to 40 degrees. I don't expect to see too much in terms of widespread 40-degree weather today, just because this colder Canadian air is filtering in from Michigan, Wisconsin, extending on into areas of northern Ohio, and looks like it's going to reach as far south as us in the northern panhandle. So just to kind of, we did get treated to almost like a spring teaser yesterday, but it's kind of hard and kind of one of those, you got to remember, I'm trying to think of the phrase where it's like, not deja vu, but, hey, I'm still here in terms of winter, because we are 16 days away to ending winter.
Well, officially.
Kind of a little reminder.
Yeah, officially ending winter, but as I told several people recently, I remember snow on Easter, so, anything can happen, but 16 days. We're in meteorological spring, heading towards, what did you call it, atmospheric spring? Is that what we call it? Astronomical spring on the equinox. So at least those are things on the calendar for us to take a look at. But today it's a little cool this morning, just roaming right around the freezing mark, I think, 33 at the Ohio County Airport, a little hazy outside. So it's just going to be that kind of day, I guess. But no rain, no snow, right?
No rain, no snow. Look to stay precip free over the next several days, even almost all the way into the next work week is really just going to kind of stay relatively dry, which, again, I'm A-okay with it. It takes me about 20 minutes to forecast. The longest thing it takes me to do is to type out the 7-day graphic that I post on our website, just because I don't want to just have 2 lines of it's going to be clear and sunny and temperatures in the 40s. I try to add a little bit of I guess fluff, but a little bit of verbiage, just so that way you can get an idea of what's going on. But that probably takes the longest for me in the mornings whenever I go through my morning routine, when we don't really have too much to talk about in terms of weather.
We're going to talk about a sunny weekend, I guess, which is a good thing.
Oh, yeah, certainly a nice weekend preview that I have for everyone. Looks like temperature-wise, it'll be a bit chilly, but that sun you and I, Howard, we've always talked about that whenever the sun's out, it just feels warmer. Even if it's, let's say, 30s or 40s, which we're going to be in the low 40s for your weekend, everyone. But just the sun will be out, and it'll certainly be feeling warmer thanks to that sun with probably calm winds is what I'm expecting to see as of now. So, nice looking weekend. Maybe think about gardening. I don't know. I'm still I got to talk to Doc because he's the master gardener here at 7 News, and got to figure out when's the official start of growing season, because I know I go through the grocery stores or the home convenience stores, and they have, get your spring seeds planted now, and I just got to ask the guy with the green thumb when it's officially growing season here.
When is it growing season? I know my wife got a package in the mail the other day, and I said, well, what is that? What's that for? She said, I'm going to grow things this year. Oh, what do you grow? I'm going to grow tomatoes. Okay. All right.
There you go. I'm not a tomato.
Okay. All right. If that's what you want to do, it's what you want to do. I didn't know we were growing tomatoes this year, but she got the stuff. She at least ordered the stuff for it, so that's good. The first part of the week you mentioned is going to be warm, but it's going to be not as sunny. So the weekend's sunny and a little bit cooler. Next week should be nice and warm at the beginning of the week, but not as sunny, right?
Yeah, it looks like maybe more clouds than sun, but there will still probably be periods of sun. Again, it's kind of hard to do the cloud cover just based off of how the fronts and the changes in air masses are coming through. I'm getting more confident on the temperatures, so I'm pretty confident that we'll see those low to mid 50s, if not flirting with 60 degrees by Wednesday. I'm confident in those temperatures, but sky conditions I'm still a little leery on. But again, as of now, we'll say there's going to be a bit more clouds than sun. But again, that could all change even by tomorrow, if not later today. But temperatures are looking to hold firm, warmer than normal, back in the mid to low 50s.
So all in all, an acceptable forecast. Again, not quite as nice as it was yesterday today, but still an okay day, and a little sunny weekend and a warm next week. So all the way around, we're not getting any perfect days. We're not getting any beautiful sunshine and 58-degree weather days combined. But we're getting some warm days and some cool days. Cool days are sunny, so all in all, it's not a bad forecast. I'm looking at the 7-day, and it's okay with me. It's okay with me, Zach, just so you know.
You'll give it the nod of approval.
I will. Yes, I will say it's an acceptable forecast for the rest of this week. All right, my friend. Yeah, appreciate it. Hey, I appreciate it today. Thanks very much. We shall chat again tomorrow.
All right, for the Friday edition, we'll make it a good one as always. Thanks, Howard. Have a good one.
Thanks a lot. Bye now. Zach Petty, Big 7, WTRF TV's morning weatherman, with us each morning around this time to chat about the weather. 33 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Very light wind blowing around out there. That 33 feels like 29. Not a big drop in the feels like temperature. 33 at the airport here at my home studios in Elm Grove, and at the Robinson Auto Group studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. 7:50, 10 till the hour. A couple of days ago, we were talking about, I was talking about people who say, do you know who I am? They try and get away with something, Do you know who I am? And I love it when people go, yes, I do. You're the man who was speeding, Now, I don't know that this individual said these words at Wheeling Council this week, or it's Wheeling City Hall this week, but according to Sheriff Tom Howard in yesterday's county commissioner meeting, one councilman basically effectively said, do you know who I am? If you go into Wheeling City Hall, there is, of course, a security machine there. I guess it's an x-ray machine or a magnometer or whatever it is. You put all of your belongings in a little, tray, and it goes through the x-ray machine. Then you walk through, and if you go beep, beep, they come and they want you because it's security, and everybody goes through it, except this councilman who did. Sheriff Tom Howard told the commissioners yesterday, the unnamed city councilman, he walked past security. By the way, since it says he, we could assume it's not Rosemary Ketchum. He walked past security, said he was a councilman and didn't need to go through security. My deputy was nice to him, let him go through, but he reported it to me. Sheriff Howard said, I'm going to talk to the councilman tomorrow. Now, this is not a jump up and down and yell. I don't know who the councilman was. I'm not even going to try and find out. But it's not a jump up and down and yell and scream, oh my God, how could that happen? But it does, in my mind, fall into the, do you know who I am category? I am a councilman. I don't have to go through security. Well, yes, actually you do.
See, I kind of figured it out. What you do, I take everything out of my pocket before I leave. If I'm here, because normally I just walk over, because if it's nice, I want to get out and get some air and get a little exercise in. So the only thing I take with me, I take a key, so I know I'm able to get back in the building. I take my cell phone and a pen and my wallet. That's it. So when I go in, I set those couple things in the little tray, like you said, and send it through. And I know for a fact when I go through that security thing is going to go off because I wear a belt.
Yes, correct.
So as soon as it beeps, whoever's standing there, I immediately tell them I got a belt. So they come over and they warn the belt, and then make sure there's nothing else. That'll set it off, and usually I'm good, and then I go about my business, do whatever I need to do, come back down, thank the security people there, and away I go. That's it. But I know it's going to go off because I got that belt on, and that's it.
Everything you said is exactly what I do. Before I will drive, so I pull up out front. Before I get out of the car, I check all my pockets, my sport coat pocket, if I have a sport coat on, my pants pockets. I take everything I have out and make sure my pockets are empty. All right, so I've got nothing in my pockets other than my wallet. I keep my wallet with me. Since I'm just getting out of my car, I just hold the keys in my hand. And you're right, I put my keys, I put my cell phone, I put my wallet in the tray. It goes through. I usually, because it's usually like a planning commission meeting or something, I'll have a big pad folio or notebook and I'll put those things in there. And then I walk through, and you're right, it always beeps. Always. And then I go about my business. And nobody has ever said don't go through. Listen, I've had a couple times I get there and the security guards will go, you're here for the meeting, right? And I go, yes, I am. But I still go through security.
And Howard, it takes what, a minute, if that?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't take a minute. Like you said, if you thought it through, I've got my keys in my hand, my cell phone's in my hand, put them in there, reach in my pocket, there's my wallet, boom, it goes. I go through. I always have to remind them, because I can never remember, and the answer is no, it doesn't affect it, but I always have to remind them I have a pacemaker.
Oh, yeah.
There are some of these security machines you can't go through with a pacemaker, but this one you can. I said, I have a pacemaker, can I go through? Yeah, don't worry, you can go through. And that's it.
I tell you,
it rolls through that machine, comes out the other side of the rolling machine, and I pick up my wallet and my phone and my keys, and off I go.
Or the other thing that'll set it off is if you've had a knee replacement or a hip replacement or any type of replacement, because they've got pins in there.
Yeah, if you've got metal in your body.
Yeah, that'll do it too. I only know that because it happened to my dad one time, and he told me, I had the hip done or whatever, and okay, because they I don't know. So yeah, if you've had that, that'll set it off too. So,
again, it's kind of like the mask to me. It's like, come on, it's not that big a deal. Just go through security, So again, but I'm not jumping up and down on the councilman, whoever it was. He probably didn't even think. I'm sure he didn't think he was doing anything wrong. He was just trying to speed things along. I get it, but still. Sheriff Howard says he walked right past security. He said, I'm a councilman. I don't have to go through security. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Do you remember a story? And I'm trying to get it in my head, Biffy, and I cannot remember the details. I think it was in New York City 5-6 years ago. A councilman didn't go through, might have been in D.C., didn't go through security. and brought somebody else with him and said, oh, he's with me. He didn't have to go through security either. And then that person did say, I can't remember if it was a shooting or something. But I can't remember the details. I just remember the incident happened. Someone who had a little bit of authority said, I don't have to go through that. And this is my buddy, and he's coming with me too. And they let him go through, and then the guy did some bad things. I can't remember what it was. So like I said, just go through security. It's not that big a deal. Whether you believe Big Brother shouldn't be doing this or not, just go through security.
Don't give the people that are doing their job a hard time. I mean, just, make it easy on them.
Yep, absolutely. And again, there have been a number of times, because I'm in and out of there a good bit in the building, a good bit, at least I used to be pre-pandemic, and they all know me, I mean, I think everybody knows, most of them know me.
You're in trouble if you get a new one.
Oh yeah, and well, sometimes the new ones like to be particularly tough too. I mean, I get it. They're trying to
do their job, but they'll
do
learn.
their job. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I remember one time I walked through. I was getting up to the going through security, and the chief came out, and I said, "Hey, chief," and he came over and we talked, and you kind of see it in the guard's mind, like, okay, he's a friend of the chief's. I mean, do I make him? I was like, no, yes, you do. Here's my stuff. I'm not complaining. I'm coming. I'm walking through.
Be careful how you do this now, buddy.
Yeah, well, do you know who I am? I've tried that a few times. And they often go, yes, I do know who you are. You're the damn liberal on the radio. It's like, uh-oh.
I know who you won't fool, Howard.
Who's that?
The police at D.C.
No. You couldn't get through with the box. You're not getting through. Or couldn't get through without the box. You're not getting through with the box. That's exactly right. Not that I haven't tried. We're going to talk about the vaccine in the next hour, because I really do think there's some misconceptions about what the vaccine is, what it does, and what you can do after you get it. Maybe I'm wrong. So Dr. Clark Milton's going to join us coming up next. It's ABC News Time right now at 8 o'clock.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
I'm Sherry Preston.
All right, Milton's at 8:10, and then Dr. Kathy Benison is at 9:10. Now, I think that was double check the way I wrote that. I think that was just a backup number she sent. I think if you read her email, it says I will call you, but if you have to call me, here's my backup number. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. If you want to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's. Well, that's good. I guess she wanted to make sure we had it. I gave her a choice like I do everybody. We can call you or you can call us. It's easier to call us. And she said she would just call us. But here's my number. So I just sent it to you to have as a backup. All right, I'm going to make some more coffee and do a couple things. I'll be back before I don't know, I'll say before the news is over. I'll be back before it's time to start talking again. I'll be back before it's time to start talking again. Let's put it that way. All right. ONN. Off the satellite. I scheduled them in the KKX satellite over the weekend. I mean, Kayleen told me to, so I scheduled them in the satellite. Yeah, she asked me to do it. I did it remotely. I just hope I did it right because it's a little complicated since we're not carrying, they schedule it as a big chunk, but we're carrying one game today and then 2 games tomorrow, so you have to do it each one separately. I hope I did it right, but I scheduled them so. No, sorry about that. I just did what I was told. So. Know what's going on? Yeah. Yeah, she texted me over the weekend, said, can you schedule these games? So I went ahead and did it. And again, I hope I did it right. I know how to schedule. Games are complicated because, as you know, normally I just say, take all the tournament action, but I can't do that because we had to work around, today we're carrying 1 hour of hockey, tomorrow we're carrying both hours. Tony we're carrying, so you got to, work around that too, so. But I think I got it right. I hope so. If not, we'll find out. And that's it. That's the game plan. Okay, good.
Just got so excited about the Rule King Chick Days.
Well, don't forget the chicken paid.
Thank you for riding with the Watchdog. Live and local. Just the way you like it.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly, here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
My little girl hurt her foot and needed a doctor fast, but her physician wasn't available, and I wanted her seen as soon as possible. Then I remembered the Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care, right in downtown Wheeling at the Stone Center on Market Plaza. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, the center is ideal if you have a sudden sickness or injury. The doctors and nurses were great, and they also provided x-rays, a pharmacy, and lab draw station. No appointments needed.
That was him? Okay, good. Alrighty then. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. I'm happy to get calls, but they always call right to the top, right when we're going into something. I get it. People don't understand that we have to do it down to the second. It's okay if you're at home and you think it's 7:55 and it's really 7:57 or vice versa, but it doesn't work that way for us. We have to have it exact. Right.
You can count on working for you.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday, look for partly sunny skies. Daytime high near 40 degrees. Clear, cool overnight. Temperatures down to about 20 degrees for the low. You'll see plenty of sunshine around for your Friday with highs in the lower 40s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Something to think about, something to laugh about, and something to talk about every day. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
34 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Little light breeze out there makes it feel like 31. 34 at the airport, 34 at my home studios. Here in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, 34 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. I got a text off my private line here this morning. Howard, we haven't heard any good Teddy stories for a while. Let's see. He took Taekwondo last night. My grandson took Taekwondo last night for the first time. And, man, did he love hitting that brick. They have these, they're cardboard, not cardboard, but plastic. I mean, they're designed that you can break them, you know. So he, I mean, man, that kid, he just, boom, puts his hand through him, and he gives his Taekwondo kick, and it goes through. He was really happy that he was able to do that. So last night was Taekwondo. He's doing horseback riding lessons again. He went ice skating at Wheeling Park's rink this week. He's been a busy boy this week.
I tell you what, though, Howard, if he ever asks you to do Taekwondo, you just run. Just run.
Yeah, I didn't. His mom went with him, and Grandma went with him just to watch. Granddad stayed home and took a nap.
Yeah, Granddad was smart.
I thought that might be the smartest move, is just to take a little nap and stay home. I have a friend of mine whose granddaughter takes Taekwondo. She's actually done it for a number of years now. She's got one of the high-covered belts, and she's really good at it. And he took her one day, and it was the day when the I don't know what they call him, the coach or the teacher or whatever, the sensei, whatever they call him. And he said, today we're going to ask the people who brought you to come out on the floor and get involved. And
oh boy!
my friend said, "What?" Yes, your children will now teach you how to do some of these moves. So I remembered that. So I thought, no, Teddy, you go. You tell Granddaddy all about it. They brought me some video, but no, I'm not I don't want to be Taekwondoing. But anyway, so to answer the question of the person who said, you heard, no, Teddy, he's been a really busy boy. Scouts this week, horseback riding, ice skating, and Taekwondo. I think I'm forgetting something, but he wants to get back. Went to the playground. Nobody was there. His parents double-checked. Nobody's at the Wheeling Park playground. So they took him to the playground where he could swing on the swings for a while. It's just, he's been a really happy boy. All right, it's 8:12 in the morning on the Watchdog Morning Show. The vaccines, more and more vaccines are coming into the area and into the state, and I'll talk about some of those numbers later on. The governor has lowered the age for people who can get on the list for the vaccine, although I don't really think you get the vaccine any sooner, but at least the list supposedly is dropping down. And a lot of people are now getting the vaccine. That's a great thing. I've had my vaccines, both vaccines but I am a little confused as to exactly what it means to have the vaccine. What does it actually do for you? And what can you do after getting it? So I wanted to talk about that. I invited Dr. Clark Milton from Wheeling Hospital to join us. Doc, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Howard.
So tell me, let's get real basic for a real quick second. What does the vaccine, put that in air quotes because there's several of them, but what does the vaccine actually do? Does it keep us from getting COVID?
I think we have to look at the vaccine as a tool in the toolbox. And it's an incredibly important tool. And it has the potential to get us back to that path of normalcy as you were talking about earlier today. The whole idea of a vaccine is to create a pseudo-type infection, challenge the immune system, have our immune systems make antibodies and other T cells to prevent the disease from occurring so that this virus has no place to live. And when the virus has no place to live, it dies off, and then we move on and can fill the stadiums with fans. But it's a tool. And then your next question is, the idea is to prevent disease. And these vaccines are incredibly good at preventing disease. Are they 100%? No. We know that the two earlier ones, the Pfizer and Moderna, are around 90%, 95%. We know the Johnson & Johnson is 70-odd%, and sometimes we get stuck in those numbers. But what's incredibly important about these vaccines is that if you get them, you don't die. And yesterday, we had about 2,500 deaths in this country. So we're not to that finish line yet. The other issues that you may want to talk about, what about transmission? But I'll hush up for a second and let you talk.
No, you're going right down the road I wanted to go. I talked to someone last night, a young person. I mean, a real young person. Everybody's a young person to me, but this is like actually a honest to goodness young person. And we're talking about the different vaccines, and he said, I'd be happy to take the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. He said, the one shot, I know it isn't perfect. He said, but, I'm young enough. I'm not immunocompromised. So he said, I don't need to necessarily worry about not getting COVID. I need to make sure that it doesn't kill me if I do get it. And I thought he had a pretty good understanding of it. Okay, you take the vaccine. It doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're not going to get COVID, but if you do get it, the symptoms will be less than if you had not had it. I think I'm correct about that, right?
You are correct. Let's just take the two mRNA viruses, the vaccines by Moderna and Pfizer. We say they're 95% efficacy. They have an effect of 95%. Well, that means 1 in 20 people still may get the disease. And what we have to realize is that there are two things going on here. We have the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which you have to have the virus to get the disease, which is COVID-19. But you could have the virus in your nose or your upper without getting COVID-19, and then the potential for that is that you transmit that to somebody who is not protected with the vaccine or may be immunocompromised. And that's the downside of everybody saying, I had the vaccine, I can go do what I want to do today. We're close, but not today.
Right. So if we have, again, I've had Moderna, I had both shots, I have my vaccines. But I'm still basically following all the same procedures I did before. I wear a mask wherever I go, socially distanced, and I'm still being very careful. I mean, I'm not, as you probably have heard me say, I so miss lunch in a restaurant, but I'm not running back out to go into a restaurant yet. I don't feel like it's, even with the vaccine, that's what I'm ready for yet. So we still have to take pretty much standard precautions that we've been taking, right? Even if you've been vaccinated?
We still have to be aware of those around us. We still have to understand that this virus will find anywhere to live that's not an individual who's protected. So I guess if we're going to talk a little bit about what could you do, there's some things that maybe you can do differently than we've done in the past 5 or 6 months. But we have to be aware that we need the majority of more than the majority, 80% of our population immune so we can crush this virus. And I think we sometimes forget that. Now, just a couple of nuances. It takes about 14 days after your second vaccine of the two that have been out there. The one shot deal from Johnson & Johnson that's going to be here soon or may be here today, it'd be the same thing. About 14 days to develop your immunity. But that's for you. So we still need to do these techniques of masking and social distancing because we don't know who has had the vaccine. I suppose, and I think the leadership, Dr. Anthony Fauci have said, if your family members are all vaccinated and it's been 14 days, sure, you can hug them now. If you are with colleagues that have all been vaccinated, yeah, it might be reasonable to go out to dinner in a small group. Those are the little steps we can make as we go forward here. I just sense the finish line is there. We can see it. And I feel like it's that football player that just intercepted the ball and running toward his end zone, and he throws the ball down before he crosses the end zone, and it's a fumble. Let's not fumble this.
What a great analogy. That's absolutely a perfect analogy. Don't spike the ball too soon.
Absolutely. Carry it into the end zone.
That's a really good point. With that in mind, there are now a couple of states that they've decided to stop all of their COVID precautions. Texas and I think Mississippi. No masks anymore. all businesses open 100%. Is that tempting fate to do that, do you think?
As I alluded to, that's a little early. And you would have thought maybe we would have learned something from the politics earlier in this pandemic, but apparently we haven't, at least in that stage. We should be so grateful and so supportive and dancing in the halls that we were able to, as a country and as enterprises and companies, and even though we made fun of the idea of warp speed, it was a phenomenal success in that we have developed these vaccines. No one in March or April last year would have predicted we would have had this completed and done and been given this many at this point in time. What I read this morning that we've given 80 million vaccines, shots. Incredible. But let's don't blow it. I think that's a bit premature, and I think you're right. We're tempting fate. The numbers plateaued a little bit in these last days here. We still have 2,000 deaths a day. We still have a number of cases that are up. 65,000 yesterday. We're sneaking up again. It's not gone. Don't spike the ball before you cross the goal line.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we still have people, and I don't want to get political here, but we got a couple of folks down in Charleston that are not wearing their masks, and they're very proud of that. And Texas is opening up. I think I've done this before. Somewhere along the way, this whole thing became political, and I don't get why public health is political. I mean, there are just facts to it that we can all look at and we can all see, and I just think we just have to be careful. We still have to be very. I shouldn't say talked. I had a social media conversation with an actual friend of mine, not just a Facebook friend, but a real friend of mine, who said, well, I can prove to you the vaccine doesn't work. I said, how? He said, well, I've been vaccinated, and I went to see my grandmother at a nursing home, and they still made me wear protective gear. So obviously, if I had to wear protective gear, then the vaccine didn't work. And I was saying, yeah, but the vaccine protects you. What about everybody else around you, especially in a nursing home where you have a lot of susceptible people? But that's the concern I have, is that too many people think once you get the vaccine, the world is normal again.
Well, I look at it, here comes another analogy, as the beehive. And we're all individual bees, but we have to protect the beehive. And there's certain things we still don't know. And one of the questions is, can you transmit this disease to somebody else if you don't have symptoms? And we already know there's 15-20% of people that got the virus and didn't have any symptoms historically. Can you do that with this vaccine? It seems what the data is showing, and it's not complete yet, that the vaccine indeed reduces that asymptomatic transmission, but it's not zero. And therein lies the risk, and that's the education that has to occur with the use of vaccines, particularly as we try to vaccinate the whole country. And we're going to have some resistance. Okay, so be it. If that's 10 or 15, 20%, we'll work on that later. But let's get 80% done, and so we can then protect everybody in the hive. And then there's this issue of the variants out there. Are they more transmissible, blah, blah. And we're going to have to deal with that, too. But remember, science should be questioned, and it's not absolute.
Well, you must be looking at my notes here on my page. Scratch off the variance question. You took care of that. So when do we anticipate it being safe? I mean, I'm asking for a generic number, for example. I mean, do we need to get, we talk about that herd immunity. When do we begin to get that? We have to get how many people vaccinated across the country for it to really, for us to feel pretty comfortable that we have it under control? Is it 80%? I think you've mentioned that number a couple of times. What number are we at least targeting out there?
Please don't use this in absolute terms, because I don't think we know that. I think the public health officials, the CDC, is thinking in the 75 to 80% range that are protected. Now, you can have immunity based on the fact that you had the disease and you have an immune system, and your immunity is up, or that you've had the vaccine. And some of the questions are, if we look at the numbers and say that how many people have had the disease, I'm looking at my notes here, I'm not finding it. Is it 80 million? Something like that. That's a little high. 30 million confirmed cases. Okay, 30 million confirmed cases. And really the CDC says that's probably 4 times that. So let's take that's 120 million. And we've had 80 million vaccines. Let's say a third of those. So around maybe 150 million people right now. That's almost 50%, right? I mean, there's 330 million Americans. So we may have that now, but we need more. And that's why we need these next couple of months. The government said by the end of May that the supply of vaccine should be greater than demand, and I hope it is. So I'm hopeful that this fall that we're looking at somewhere back to being normal. It could be a good summer, but we still have to play this game a little bit using these other tools. And I just don't want to throw them out the window. Don't throw away your mask and your hand sanitizer just yet.
Yeah, that's the point I wanted to make to a lot of folks. I think a lot of people just have a misconception about that. So wear your mask, keep your social distancing, be smart. As you point out, I saw Dr. Fauci say one day this week, if your entire family or your extended family or you and your friends have all had the vaccine, everybody, and you want to have a private dinner party at home, that's probably okay. But you still don't want to go to a wedding reception where everybody has not been vaccinated. So, I mean, it requires a little thought, but keep in mind that the vaccine does not prevent the spread.
To some degree. Yeah, it does to some degree. Is that a third of the time does it spread? Decreased transmission? I think that's unclear. But your point of what you said is right on target and should be the message. And I think, as you discussed earlier with athletic games and decreasing the number of people and people being there to monitor the masking, that's how we have to do this. And everybody's got to play. And if you don't want to play, then don't go to the game. And I know that's a bit harsh, but that's where we need to be. This is so fantastic when you look at what's happened. Let's don't blow it.
Well, I hope that here's what I hope. I hope that the vaccine gets distributed and into the arms faster than some of these folks who want to roll everything back and roll them back. Again, Texas opening up already. I think Mississippi is talking about that. The legislature in West Virginia introduced a bill yesterday to prohibit mask mandates being ordered in any municipality. That kind of thing concerns me. I think it's a race now to see who, can we get vaccinated before some of these bad decisions become reality? That's my opinion. I'm not asking you to necessarily concur with me, but I think that's kind of the race that we're in.
Well, I'm a vaccine advocate. I remember polio. Maybe you do too. When you remember those things and how dramatic to see a kid in Woodsdale when I was 4 or 5 years old walking around with metal braces and the crutches, you don't ever forget that. And now we have a vaccine. Are there problems with vaccines? Sure there are, but there's problems with the disease. There's 500,000 deaths that we've had associated with it. Let's not forget that. That has marked people's lives. So for me to hear that we're lowering some restrictions right now, we're so close. And I know I've said that 3 or 4 times throughout this discussion, but we're just so close.
Yeah, 500,000 deaths, 500,000 deaths, more than in any other war other than the Civil War in this country. More deaths than in any war of this country. The number the comparative number that really hit me was there are about 400,000 soldiers buried in Arlington Cemetery right now, and there's only room for about 95,000 more, which means that if we took the entire population who has died from COVID, it might not even fit in all of Arlington Cemetery. I mean, try and put numbers into perspective, and for folks who say it's not that big a deal, it is. And you look at those numbers. No, does everybody who gets COVID die? No. Does everybody who gets COVID have a serious illness? No. But those who do, it's the potential for the ultimate penalty is real serious. Dr. Milton, before I let you go, is there anything else you want us to know that you think we should know?
Don't hesitate. Vaccinate. And I know that it's still a little difficult. There are people that are waiting. There are those over 65 that are still waiting. Be patient. When your number's called, get vaccinated, and please continue to the 3 W's. Wear your mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands. Don't throw the ball down before we cross the goal line.
I like that analogy. Hey, thanks for joining us today. I hope that we've helped some people get this in perspective. I really appreciate it. Have yourself a great day.
Thank you, Howard.
Thanks a lot. Dr. Clark Milton from Wheeling Hospital. So I love that analogy with don't spike the ball before you cross the finish line, before you cross the goal line, right?
And how many times have we seen highlights recently or in years past where guys have done that? They, for whatever reason, spot the ball a yard, a half yard even, short of the goal line. You can see it. Just go to that big wide thing that's called the end zone.
That's right.
You're not that far from it.
The analogy is very good, though. You think you've made it. I think I made it. I think I'm across the line. Spike the ball. Whoa! That wasn't the line.
That was the 1 yard line.
So, if we're at the 1 yard line, let's get through to that big goal line. You're right, Biffy, and that's a great analogy. Let's not spike the ball. I get so nervous about Texas opening up. I mean, Texas is going, and now the governor there has got, the governor is he's up for re-election in a couple of years. And a lot of what's happening there is politics. I guess a lot of COVID stuff is politics, but Governor Abbott has got an election coming up. He's been taking a lot of heat because of the power grid failures in Texas. And I honestly, I think he was, I hate to say he was using people's lives as a bargaining chip or political chip, but I think he was really trying to give himself something positive to make the base feel good about. So he's opening up completely there. I think that's a mistake. And then I just saw last night in West Virginia, looking for it here in my pile of notes. I'll have to do it probably after the break. The legislature is looking at a bill. I think it's a House bill. I'll have to find this, and I want to share it with you when we come back, maybe. Which is the intent of the bill introduced into the legislature in West Virginia is to prohibit anybody from mandating wearing masks. And I'll look it up and read it to you in the next segment of the show. I have not had any sense of how much support that has. It really just crossed my desk last night, but we'll talk about that. So, and we'll talk about the governor's announcement yesterday that he's lowering the age for vaccines, because I don't quite understand what that really means in practical terms. And I actually asked around to a few people who should know last night, and they said, you know what they said to me, Biff? I don't know.
They don't know either.
No. So, we'll talk about that coming up as well. It's 8:33, 27 till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. 34 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. And we are also watching the nation's capital today, hoping nothing happens. But Capitol Police are worried. Today's the day QAnon thinks that Donald Trump is going to rise again and take over the presidency. And there are serious threats that they're looking at in terms of possible insurrection once again. ABC is keeping an eye on that, and we'll let you know if anything happens in that front. We'll let you know what's happening around the Ohio Valley right now.
The WTRF Channel 7 News Update is brought to you by Tom.
If I forgot to mention, we have 9:10, we've got Dr. Benison. And then we got somebody from West Liberty at 9:40. I told them they wanted to do an admissions thing. JoJo asked me for it, so But it's going to be literally a 10-minute segment because obviously hopefully we'll have Bob coming up. So, but there will be one final guest today too. We'll just have to run that pretty quickly though. Yeah, we got Dr. Benison at 9:10, and then 9:40. I think it's Kyle Patrick, I think is his name, but somebody from the admissions department at 9:40. But I told them it has to be very short because, we don't have a lot of time in that last half hour. We usually do. I won't say always, but usually do. Yep. Come on, where is that bill? I printed out a copy of the bill. Where did I put it? I'll take another break, so you don't have to get everything in here. Okay.
Virginia mentally bounces back in this game.
Oh, okay. After the game? Okay. Okay. Yep. How long do those games usually run? About an hour and a half? Yeah. Okay, somewhere a little under 2 hours. Right. We'll find out when it happens. And you'll be there at 11, right? I mean, I just want to make sure I schedule it right. If I didn't, there's somebody there to, do something about it. I know, but I don't know. I mean, also, and I'm not complaining, but I didn't even know we were carrying them until she asked me to schedule them. I didn't know that we were carrying the games. Yep, I will. I'll look and see if I have one someplace. Although I think it probably is supposed to run by automation, right? So if there is, I think so. If there is a format, it probably is already in the log. I think. I don't know. I don't know. That's not part of what I deal with. So. Well, you got some fire water around there, don't you? Fireball.
And add them on Facebook. Dilly's Bottom. The watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Dilly's Bottom trusts the watchdog.
Watch out! He could climb on his soapbox at any time. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
One of the things I've been soapboxing about a lot this week, in the last couple of weeks, has been Governor Justice's income tax reduction idea, because that's all it is, as far as I know, is an idea. His idea is to reduce the state income tax and then to account for the lost revenue with increases in the sales tax, anywhere from 1.5% to 1.9%, increasing sin taxes on soda pop and cigarettes, and then this week he added alcohol, adjusting the way we tax our natural resource industries, some budget cuts, all of those things. But they're just ideas. There's been no bill proposed. Maybe we're going to get some specifics today, because Governor Jim Justice, and his Tax and Revenue Secretary Dave Hardy will be on with Hoppy Kercheval today, beginning at 10 o'clock. So the first hour of the show involves Governor Justice and Dave Hardy talking to Hoppy. I have to assume it's going to be 90% on the income tax proposal. So that's the first hour, and actually the only hour you'll hear here on the Watchdog of Hoppy Kercheval today. Governor Justice and Tax and Revenue Secretary Dave Hardy today on Hoppy Show. At 11 o'clock, of course, we head, literally down the street.
Yeah.
We just go down the street to West Banco Arena for the West Liberty Glenville State game, women's game of the Mountain East Conference. So that'll be for you beginning at 11 o'clock. When that is done, Billy D will be in, and Big Rick later on this afternoon. The governor yesterday put a new cutoff age for the coronavirus vaccines, dropped it to 50. Started out as 80 plus, remember, then 70 plus, then 65 plus, and now he's got 50 as the new cutoff age for coronavirus vaccines. What I still don't understand is, what does that mean? I mean, we still have 70-year-olds and 67-year-olds, and we still have folks in the older category who have not yet been vaccinated. So why are we continuing to lower the age group? I mean, it sounds good. But isn't it just a paper decision? I don't think it's a real decision. The governor said that the fact that you're on the list will not mean you're necessarily getting moved up in priority for the actual vaccines. So I'm not 100% sure. So I don't know what the 50 plus decision is, the 65 plus decision was, why we're doing that. I'm glad they went to 65. That's why I got rolled in at 68. I got rolled in once that happened, so that was good. But there still are people, older folks, Biff, who haven't had the vaccine yet. Now, everyone in the nursing homes has, and in hospitals and so on. But if you're 72 years old living at home, there's still some folks who have not had the vaccine. So why are we lowering the age? I don't get it.
The only thing I could think of is the governor might be and I don't know why, but in a hurry just to, try and get, maybe he wants to try and get everybody registered for, I don't know. I mean, I really don't have a good explanation. Other than that, maybe that's what it is. I think he's in a hurry so that people will maybe get registered.
And he said, I think that's part of what it's about. I do agree with that. And he lowered the general age to 50 plus, and he also, educators between 40 and 50, I think, have now been put on the list. And he also said if you're over 16 and have a health issue, an immunocompromised issue, that you should be on the list. But I don't think they're using health issues as a criteria. I know everybody, I see people all the time saying, well, yes, but I've got this health problem. But I don't think they're using the health issues. I think they're really basically strictly going by age. And in talking to some folks, the answer I got was, it's just too hard to determine whose health issues are more important than other people's health issues. Age you can look at. He's 80. He's 54. I can see I can see the difference. But when it comes to health issues, I don't know, is this guy more in need of the vaccine than this guy because he's got a issue with his liver and this guy's had a heart problem? I mean, it's hard to do. So I don't think they're taking that into account. I could be wrong. And if any of you involved in the health industry want to share that with me, please do so. 304-214-1600. Let me know if I'm wrong. But I don't think they take health into account. I think it's just age. And again, so 50 is the new cutoff age. That's the headline here. But I don't think it really is going to make any difference. Isn't everybody supposed to register anyways, no matter what your age is? I think the way they're using this new statewide system, everybody's supposed to get online and get registered. And then they being, whoever makes the decisions, state health department, your county health departments, they will determine who gets the next round of vaccines.
I think, but I don't know. Again, I mean, that was that was just all I could come up with. So,
no, I think you're right. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. Just get people registered. But I think it gives some false hope. So now you're 52, just say, and you say, now I'm on that list. Well, yeah, but you're just on the list. They're still going to deal with 80-year-olds and 70-year-olds and 65-year-olds before you as a 52-year-old. At least I think that's the way it works. Now, what makes this a little bit better is that we are getting dramatically more vaccines themselves. The problem we've had in West Virginia, all across the country, I should say, West Virginia in particular, is that we haven't had enough actual vaccine coming into the state. And that's why we had these huge numbers of people calling back when you had to call in to get registered for an appointment. We had these huge numbers. What was that one time? 3,000 calls a minute came in, I think, to Marshall County one day.
Yeah, I think that's...
When people had to register.
Yeah, we had Mark on talking about that.
Yeah, exactly. So, But that's when the vaccine was extremely limited. The week that I got my first shot, which was the last week you called in to get registered, I think the number of vaccines available in Ohio and Marshall counties was 110 total vaccines available in Ohio County and Marshall County, each. Around 100 plus. But I'm told this week, for example, Ohio County now has about 1,500. The state has 92,000 doses available this week. So there should be a speed up in your moving up on the priority list simply because we're getting more vaccines in. Everybody was complaining so hard and yelling at me and yelling at the social media and yelling at the health departments prior to this because they weren't getting their vaccine. But there was only limited vaccine coming in. The actual physical vaccine, the medicine in a vial, was not coming in great abundance. It is coming in much larger numbers now. Like I said, only a handful of weeks ago, when I was getting the vaccine, there were only 110, 115, something like that, available in the entire county on that day. Now, this week, there's 1,500, around about there. And 92,000 antivirus doses a week coming into the state of West Virginia now because of increases in our allotment. So that should speed things along a little bit. But again, there's still going to have to be patience. And I know a lot of folks aren't willing to be patient. It's 9 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Coming up today, as I mentioned, 11 o'clock, we've got the MEC tournament, first time. Last year was the last the last event that MEC was able to hold with fans in the stand at all. This will now have 750 fans at least with the tournament this week. So that's good. March Madness will be held this year. It was canceled last year. And in conjunction with March Madness, we here on the Watchdog are engaging in Watchdog Madness. Now, let's explain how this works again. We are going to begin, and we're going to do it right now, to get some of you registered in our contest. We are going to register over the course of the next week and over the course of all of our radio talk shows, 64 people. We'll have 64 names when we're done getting registered. And they will all go into a little bin. Selection Sunday, which is March 14th, the NCAA will have its bracket set up. And on our Selection Monday, we will pull out each of those 64 names and by random assign them a team. And then where your team is on the bracket, that's where you will play. And then you will just follow that team along. And if you're lucky enough to have gotten the team that wins the March Madness, you win Watchdog Madness and you win a big screen TV. It's just kind of a fun way for us to kind of highlight the March Madness thing. So while I take a quick break, I'm going to ask Biff to check the phones, and I'm going to ask you if you would like to be registered to call us at 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK, and give Biffy your name and phone number, and we'll get you registered. We're going to look for 2 people to get registered today in Watchdog Madness, so feel free to call. And please, if Biff asks you to hold on the line, hold on the line, because one of you lost out yesterday. Somebody was on the line. Biff said, hold the line, put him on hold, and was going to come back to him. When he came back to him, right, Biffy, they were gone.
Yeah, but they actually called back after the show, so I got that from yesterday taken care of. But and we should mention this. If you've already registered once, you can't do it again.
No mas.
Yeah, you don't get multiple teams in this. So if you've already registered, you're good. We need new people who haven't registered yet.
There will be 64 in different names. 64 different names will be in the bin. The only restriction is, I guess Teddy can't enter, or other employees of the radio station, nor their families, nor our sponsors. But other than that, go for it. So while we take care of some commercial business, Brother Biff will get some phone calls in. 304-232-8255. Need 2 callers to get registered for the big screen TV in our Watchdog Madness contest.
Wake up to the Ohio Valley's favorite morning show, the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Weekday morning, 7 to 10 a.m. Only on the Watchdog. 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy.
Or you, your best man. Your worst man. You, your dog walker. Your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
The members of Ruffers Union Local 188 in Wheeling remind us, while we may consider it a right to receive blood when hospitalized, we must also consider the responsibility to donate blood to maintain the supply for the community. This message from all the great and caring folks, the members of Ruffers Union Local 188 out of Wheeling, representing licensed, bonded, and insured roofers for all residential and commercial projects. That's Ruffers Union Local 188 in Wheeling, wishing everyone a safe and healthy year.
Catch Biff Leonard on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Weekday morning 7 to 10 a.m. Only on the Watchdog. Live and local talk radio. Just the way you like it.
There's a time and a place for everything, including a different point of view. This is that time and place. You're listening to the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, brought to you in part by Wheeling Hospital.
304-232-8255 is the call-in number for the City Dad hotline. 304-214-1600 is our text line that you're welcome to use as you choose, sharing text information with me if you would like to. Biffy, did we get some folks registered yet or not?
Oh, we got them in real quick there. Right as we were headed to the break, we had Randy and Tama.
Okay. Added to the list of folks that are registered here on this show. And remember, all of our hosts, Bill DeFabio, Big Rick, and Donnie G tomorrow will all get people registered. Up to 64 people, not up to, exactly, 64 people will be registered come our selection Monday. So, and then you'll be in the game and we'll have some fun with it over March Madness, and maybe you'll win a big screen TV. We'll talk more about that as we get a little bit closer. So feel free to be listening every morning or all throughout the day to get yourself registered. It's just a way that if you're watching March Madness and you're in our Watchdog Madness, it kind of adds a little excitement to watching the games or listening to the games. And another way to add excitement to your sports watching experience is by betting on all the action on our friends at FanDuel. There is a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is really simple to use. I've said that multiple times. Very intuitive, really easy. If you're not used to using a sportsbook app, it's simple for you to figure out. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like the same game parlays we've talked about, exclusive always-on promotions like enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game. And remember, if you win, they get your money to you safely in as little as 24 hours. And that's a pretty big deal because, let's face it, what you want is, your money. So they get it to you very quickly. Easy to use, fast withdrawals, odds boost specials, chance to win big with some of their exclusive same-game parlays and so on and so forth. And right now, if you are new to FanDuel, let you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Place any bet on any game in any sport. You get up to $1,000 back in site credit if you don't win your first bet. Now, you have to be 21 or older. You have to be present in Pennsylvania or West Virginia. The first online real money wager only. Site credit is non-withdrawable. Expires in 14 days. Restrictions do apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. If you have a gambling problem, www.1800gambler.net. FanDuel. More ways to win.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling. FM 97.7, AM 1370, WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
The Biden administration is doubling down on reopening schools.